Hey, mighty men of God, Dr. Joe Martin here, the host of the #1 podcast on iTunes for Christian men, Real Men Connect. And I'm also the Chief Discipleship Officer for SoulCon Ministries. Guys, obviously I am not Cody Bobay unless he has a really bad tan. But Cody asked me to fill in for him today because he wanted me to shoot a video for you, actually sharing a conversation we had on the Real Men Connect podcast. Now, I don't have my cup of coffee with me like Cody normally does, but I do have my water. I'm a water drinker, not a coffee drinker. And you can see I have on my SoulCon t-shirt. I just finished working out. But I told Cody I would shoot this video because he asked me to do it because we were talking on our podcast. And he said, Joe, you have to share that with our brothers. And guys, let me kind of give this some context. And I'll start by making this statement. And a lot of you can relate to this. That the worst thing than seeing one of your brothers, your brothers in Christ fall is when you feel that you could have done something to prevent it, to prevent him from falling. Let me say that again. The only thing worse than watching your brother fall, I mean, he could have fallen to anything that has devastated his family, devastated his life. The only thing worse than watching him suffer and go through that after he's fallen is if you realize that you probably could have done something to prevent him from falling. Well, Cody and I, we were discussing on the Real Men Connect podcast about some of the challenges we face as being ministry leaders. And a lot of you can relate because you're SoulCon leaders and you have guys in your team on SoulCon. And just the ministry itself can be a burden sometimes, and it weighs heavy on you because you're not only trying to walk this Christ-like walk in your own family as a husband, as a father, as a spiritual leader, but you're also held responsible and accountable to other brothers. And when you're in a position like we are, like Cody and I, and it's like some of you guys are, whether you're in your church, in charge of a men's ministry in your church, or a SoulCon group, or any other group that you're in charge of, that you're leading a group of men, that you tend to take it personal because their lives are your lives, because you find yourself praying for them, interceding for them, trying to stand in the gap for them. So it can be tough and it's heavy. So Cody and I, we talk about this, and we talk quite frequently because we kind of sharpen one another to kind of keep us encouraged in this walk. But Cody shared something with me on the show, and he wanted me to talk about it here on this video, is that in the past, I guess maybe several weeks, he's run into 6 or 7 guys who he knows personally who have fallen from grace. I mean, they've gone through a lot of different challenges, and not only did they fall, that their fall impacted their families, their wives, their children. And this is typical that I run into the same thing with some guys. And the toughest part is not only seeing them fall, but when you look back and think, could I have done anything to prevent it? Now, Cody also said this, and this, I guess, is what prompted me to share something with him. And he said, Joe, you got to share this with our group. Cody said, we need to stop assuming. We need to stop assuming. And this is so critical. See, we can hang around brothers forever. And when you ask about, man, how you doing, man? Man, I'm too blessed to be stressed. And we accept that as an answer. Man, how you doing? Man, I'm doing fine. And he is not fine. You know, I tell people, whenever anyone tells you that they're doing fine, I don't know where I heard this before. They say fine. F-I-N-E stands for frustrated, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. They are not fine. And anytime a brother tells you he's fine, that is a red flag that he needs some help, and you need to be the one to help him. So we need to stop assuming they're fine. When you ask them, man, how you doing? Man, I'm doing great. Things are not great always. Man, how you doing? Man, I'm all right. I'm good. No, he's not good. Now, he could be good, but don't you assume that he is. He could be great. Don't assume that he's great. He could be fine, but assume he's not fine. Because you have to dig a little bit below the surface. And I'm telling you, their families are depending on us to do that. Now, I don't want to dump this heavy burden on you, but if we're in their lives, our job is to hold them accountable. No different is their job to hold us accountable. I always tell my daughter, I have a teenage daughter, and I tell her, I said, a man who doesn't have accountability can't be counted on. If he doesn't have accountability, he can't be counted on. And if we can't hold our friends and our brothers in Christ accountable, and they can't count on us, why are we in their lives in the first place? And guys, I'm guilty of it because I tend to take whatever answer they give me as gospel. Okay, he's good. I don't have to worry about him. No, but we got to dig below the surface. So Cody brought up the fact that we need to stop assuming. So if we need to stop assuming, which I believe that is true, but if you're going to stop something, that means you must also start doing something different. And what I think we need to do differently, and which I want to start to do, and I'm hoping Cody's going to hold me accountable, and I'm going to hold him accountable, because we're going to do it to each other, is that we need to ask some tough questions. And guys, I'm not going to make this super complicated. If you've been following me at all on Real Men Connect or on my podcast or anything, you know I like keeping things super practical. And I told Cody on the air, and I said, Cody, we need to start digging by asking 3 questions. Now, you're not going to forget the 3 questions because they all start with the letter L. 3 questions when it comes to talking to our brothers. And listen to me. And here are those 3 questions. 1, you want to ask him about his love life, about love. You want to ask him about lust and temptation. And you want to ask him, is he lying? That's it. 3 questions. Now, you can ask these questions in any type of way, and I'm going to give you an example. But the key is you have to ask it around these 3 areas: love, lust, and lying. Now, let me give you an example. We're going to put Cody on the chopping block today. Cody, we talk quite frequently, at least maybe once every other week or something. But I'm guilty of it. I don't ask Cody these questions, but I'm going to start doing it, and I'm hoping he's asking me the same thing. Let's start with the love question. Now, I know that he loves Haley, but why don't I ask him about his love for Haley? All I can do, I can start by asking a question like this. Hey, Cody, so we're talking about ministry and vision casting and all this other stuff. Hey, Cody, man, before we get off the phone, man, let me ask you about this, man. How are you and Haley doing? How's your marriage, man? This month, if you had to rate it from a 1 to a 10, 10 being the highest, what rating would you give it? Man, how much time have you spent with Haley this month, this week? What do you guys plan on doing to have some quiet time together? Man, is she struggling with anything? Are you struggling with anything in your marriage that I need to know about? Guys, you get the point. Any questions around the love issue? Now let's go to the second one. The second question we want to know is about lust. Now that can be a touchy subject with men. But how do you do it? First of all, talk about your own victory or your own struggle. So I may start with Cody this way. Man, Cody, man, I got to tell you, man, this week has been a battle for me. I don't know what's going on, man, but lust has been like attacking me. I've been tempted on all sides. Man, what about you? How you been doing this week, this month? Have you been tempted? Man, have you allowed your eyes to look at things you shouldn't be looking at? Man, has your heart been pulled in another direction? Have you found yourself flirting with anyone that you shouldn't be flirting with? Man, have you been spending a little bit more time with a woman that you shouldn't be spending time with? Has some conversations gotten out of hand with any women? Guys, you see how we're going into this. I'm asking questions around lust and temptation because we know that's a constant battle for us as men. Man, have you touched something you shouldn't have been touching? So we got the love question about his marriage and his relationships. We got the lust question. But we got to ask the third question. Man, Cody, thanks for sharing that with me. I appreciate it, man. But can I ask you this, man? Are you lying to me? Now, I know that sounds harsh, but you can kind of phrase it any way you want to. Man, I know what you told me. Because when it comes to telling the truth, guys, there's different types of lies you can tell. You know that, right? So I may start this way. I say, man, are you like, no, man, Joe, I'm not lying to you, man. Well, are you leaving something out? See, that's another form of lying. We leave stuff out. Man, there's something you're not telling me. See, I asked you about Haley. I asked you about temptation. Is there something you're not telling me? See, him leaving it out is just as bad as him lying. So he could be possibly not. Are you flat out lying to me? You just bold-faced told me a lie. You didn't tell me the truth. Now, that's the harder question. But here's another one you want to ask when it comes to lying. Dude, I know you told me about this. Is it worse than what you're saying it is? Is it a lot worse, or are you kind of minimizing it? Or are you blowing it out of proportion? Guys, you see the variations on this question of lying. And I believe if we do this on a consistent basis with our friends, maybe we can prevent some of them from falling. Guys, we can't prevent all of them from falling. But we want to be obedient to Christ because they're in our life. And we need to hold them accountable. And we hold them accountable by digging below the surface. By not assuming, but asking. You know what they say about the word assume. It makes up out of you and me. Guys, we don't want to do that. Stop accepting face value answers. And we need to start asking some deeper questions. Guys, you can do it. We all can do it. And guys, if this video is helping you, please share this video with some other men who you may be mentoring, maybe in your SoulCon group. Guys, like I always say, we are males by birth, but we are men by choice. So each and every day, choose to be the man that God called and created you to be. Because a male is a terrible, terrible thing to waste. So next time, as always, be strong, stay blessed, and stay in his grip. Talk to you soon.